Okay guys, so I guess the time has come. So it's October, the Escalade is gone, and I want to start the rebuild on the Ranger. I already got the front off. I do have a lot of plans or ideas for this thing. I'd like to make it nicer and easy to work on. I know a lot of you guys know this, but I'm sure there's some out there that don't. This was actually my great-grandpa's truck. If you're wondering why I have this one still, and I've been selling all the other projects and I keep this one, that's why, because this was my great-grandpa's truck, so I'm going to keep this one for a long time to work on it. And I'll still probably build other stuff and kind of cycle through it and sell that stuff, but that's why I'm kind of just keeping this one, and I work through other projects and just sell them because I don't really get attached to those, but I'm going to keep this one. So what I'd like to do is try to make this one a little bit nicer. So it's got a lot of nice stuff in it already, but this one was always kind of like the experiment, like budget build, sleeper kind of thing with stock tires and whatever. So I want to kind of get away from that stuff, lower it, probably change the wheels. I'm thinking about taking the two-wheel drive or taking the four-wheel drive out of it, change it back to two-wheel drive, lighten it up a bit, because then I'll be able to pull out the differential transfer case, lighten up the drive line, take the axles out, get some weight out of it there. So the truck is like 4,300 pounds. I'd like to get it in the like mid 3,000s if I could. I don't know where I'm going to get all that weight from, but I got some ideas. I'd like to go to an aluminum block. That's 100 pounds. Can probably remove some interior stuff. There's like a lot of extra frame brackets and bracing and spare tire mount and a lot of other stuff that I feel like I can get out of it. And I'd like to clean all this stuff up. So I want to make it easy to work on. That's going to be like my mission with this, I think, is just to try to make everything easy and convenient to work on. So initially I built everything kind of around the frame and just cut stuff out to make this work. So I think I'm going to try to do more building of the vehicle around the parts that I buy. So maybe going with like a really thick, like maybe 4-inch intercooler. I've been debating if I want to do like a sandwich air-to-water intercooler or if I just want to keep it air-to-air. I do plan to keep the 4L80 and I'd like to have it, drivable. But big thing I'd like to change is maybe do like a tube front here and not have the factory support, or have something that's easily removable so I could just pull the whole engine out. Like that was one of my favorite things about the Mustang. Working on that was the tube front, and I could get the whole engine and transmission out in under an hour just by basically unhooking the cold side, flopping the turbos over, and then I could unbolt the engine with 2 bolts for the motor mounts, the transmission cross member, and then I could just pull the whole thing out. And it was really quick and really easy to work on. There was a lot of space. So a lot of it I'm going to have to work out and figure out as I go. Big goals with it, I guess. I'd like to have it easy to work on, reliable, power steering, AC, all that stuff. And I have no idea how I'm going to do any of it yet. So this should be kind of fun. So it's also on my mind to try to get the torsion bar front suspension out of there and go to like a single adjustable or double adjustable coilover type setup in the front. And not really sure what I want to do with the rear yet. I'd like to possibly keep the leaf springs, but just get it lower to the ground. And I'm thinking I might put a cage in it. So I've been kind of looking into that stuff a little bit. So I was looking at the NHRA website for cage specifications, and the rear bar angle needs to be 30 degrees. So I know a lot of times you see like the main hoop is back here and then the bars come out the rear window and come back this way. I was looking at the website and it says it needs to be 30 degrees from vertical, so 30 degrees out. So I want to kind of see if it's possible to come down this way and still get it underneath the window line. I don't know if it's possible or how legal it would be, but I'm going to kind of look into that a little bit. I know a lot of people were saying to do the funny car hoop, but I feel like that's a lot of cage. That's a lot of bars inside there. I don't know if it's a cage that would ever like officially get certified or anything, but I just want to make it like a little safer if I'm going to go fast with it. But you never know. Once you start going that far, things tend to snowball a little bit sometimes. You never know, but that's kind of the plan. I'm going to start tearing everything out. The transmission's already out. I just got to pull the engine out. So it's really just get the intercooler, turbos off, pull the engine out. Transmission's already out because it's been out for a while since the torque converter exploded. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so here we go. Everything is, oh, well, not everything. I got the engine out. Engine's right there. So if anybody local wants to buy this thing, 6-liter, Slappy Stage 2 cam, Pack 1218s. It's got 2 drain bungs for 2 turbos. Let me know. Got the mirror boys right there. And then all of this stuff is probably just going to be scrapped. I'll probably keep the V-bands or maybe just go with all new V-bands, I'm not sure. And then I'm committed on this project to never doing anything like this again. So there's so many different cuts here because I was actually trying to level out the turbos. Like with the twin setup, I was trying to get them level and then one was too high and then I had to cut it and trim it and like readjust it a bunch of times. So that's why that looks that way. So I think what I want to do differently next time is actually make a jig to mount the turbos and then build the pipe to the turbo instead of just kind of guess and check. Also going to be redoing these mounts. I mean, just for you guys that have never seen this before, these are the engine mounts that have been in here the whole time. It's just the Chevy mount welded with a piece of flat stock to the Ford mount. Yeah, and there's the passenger side. So it's literally has like 1.5 inch long bead. And that's really all that it is holding it on there. And it's worked fine. It's been on there for over 3 years. So obviously not my best work, but we're going to change all that stuff now. So that's what I think is funny about people freaking out about an ugly weld on a downpipe. Like it's the whole vehicle's going to explode. If I get welds like that on the engine mount and nothing happened after 4 years, 3 years, I think we'll be okay on the downpipe. So yeah, mounts will come out, the diff will come out. I gotta figure out what I want to do with the steering situation. I'll probably improve my steering intermediate shaft here. This is basically what's been in there the whole time, and it's worked fine. I've never had any issues with the steering. I know there's a lot of people freaking out about it, saying it was gonna bind because I have a joint here and a joint here. It's basically just 2 Ranger intermediate shafts. And I cut one and welded another one on there just to get it around the manifold, and it's worked fine. It's never had any issues, no binding or anything. So I would like to possibly change it and be a little bit more intentional with like a shaft and a bearing or something like that. Try to make it a little bit nicer. Yeah, and then all of this wiring, I just absolutely hate all of this wiring and how this is set up. So it all worked, but I definitely want to do that. I'd like to maybe block those holes and do some bulkheads or something through the firewall. Because right now I just have everything ran through where the heater box was. There's a gap underneath there, so I just ran everything through that. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got for now. That's kind of the idea going forward. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments. But let's get started. If you're not subscribed, you're probably better off.